Okay, so this is our sphere, and I'm just going to take a quick minute to point out a few things that are pretty important to know. Critical to understanding how to create an illusion is knowing where these three values come into play. On our sphere today, they come into play in several places, starting out with our lightest light. Our lightest light can be found on the upper half of our sphere. And the lightest light is always indicated by an object's exposure to direct light. And the direct light will generally be coming from your light source. So to mark lightest light, I'm just going to put LL. And it's being indicated, our lightest light is being indicated by our direct light, so I'm going to put DL up here. Next, we have our midtones. And our midtones are generally going to be indicated by reflected light. And today, our reflected light is coming off of this plane onto our sphere. And we can see the reflected light right on the edge of this sphere. I'm going to put RL for reflected light. And then I'm going to put MT for midtone. And so again, those are going to be right in here. But we're also going to have midtones above the core shadow. Once again, midtones are generally illustrated by reflected light. Finally, we have our darkest darks. And your darkest darks are generally going to be in the core shadow. There will also be a lot of darks in the cast shadow, but on your object, generally speaking, the darkest darks can be found in the core shadow. And the cool thing about the core shadow, if you're ever wondering where it will always be indicated by your reflected light. So the core shadow will be in between your reflected light. So we have our core shadow. I'm going to put CS. And in the core shadow, we have our darkest darks. Next, we have our cast shadow. And you're going to have some of those darks down here. But the cast shadow is really important because it grounds the whole sphere. I'm going to have to write the whole thing. So we have our cast shadow. And actually, our cast shadow extends out from just underneath the ball. The reason I lightened it up in here is because of the reflected light coming off the ball onto the plane, lightening up this cast shadow. The final element I want to point out today is just this little bit of bounce light or reflected light coming off the ball. And just as the cast shadow works to ground the sphere, so does this little bit of bounce light or reflected light coming off of the object. So, to repeat, the keys to understanding how to create an illusion is knowing how your values interact with form. That's all I have for today. Look for my next videos. They'll be coming up whenever I get around to them. Have a good day.